Welcome back to another episode of Boomer Bust on the Boomer Bust channel. I'm your host Terry, and today we are looking at the interior defensive linemen. So moving from the edge rushers, check that out. And I talked about some of the trends with the defensive line and everything. And we're going to go into the interior guys. So first off, we got Logan Hall from Houston. Big dude, big cat. Pretty much play like a 3-4 in type deal. They run multiple fronts, but he's an interior guy. 6'6", 275. Again, I haven't saw at this time of recording. I have not saw the combine, so I'll get their exact measurements and everything. But I like him. I think he has great potential. The big issue for me is his technique against the double team is pretty bad. Also, he gets a little too close to lineman. He bumps chest. I almost said something else that we say on the football field, but he bumps chest with linemen, and you don't ever want to do that. That means you do not have enough space to operate. Yeah, you might be occupying space, but you're not in a position to get off the block. So those two things can be very big for a guy where in the interior, big part of your job is occupying those blocks and, keeping the gaps clean. So, I don't like that, but I do think he has the natural strength and he has the ability to handle himself, but he got destroyed on some double teams in multiple games, and mostly because he just does not have good technique. And so those two things I would like to see him clean up. But I gave him a level 5 motor for an interior guy. That's great. Again, you're talking about elite size, really good natural strength. And I think he has long arms, good extension. He just has to use it better and know how to control blocks better. As far as a pass rusher, nothing special. Bully ball, a lot of these guys are. But again, that motor makes him a little relentless, and that gets him more sacks. So you definitely are going to have to groom him as a pass rusher as well. So definitely some stuff to clean up with his game, but also some stuff you can't teach, like the size and the want to. So I'm excited. I think he'll be a pretty good prospect. I don't think he's Calais Campbell or anything, but I do think he'll be a force on the interior. So next we got Josh Paschal, I believe. Pascal, I don't know. From Kentucky. And these both were labeled as the edge. And so when I watched the tape, I'm like, they don't play on the edge. But anyway, this guy, you know what? This is a guy that I have been suckered on many times in the past. Not suckered on per se, but this is a type of player that gets me. When you have tweeners that have either good athleticism, good technique, or both, it's always like you really want to be, oh yeah, they're gonna become something. And they don't always, because again, it's all about, not all about, but for most players, where you go is a huge thing. And so when you get guys that are tweeners, they have to be in the right spot. Otherwise, you go somewhere and they just don't know what to do with you. You never get a chance, and then you off the team and nobody ever picks you up because there's nothing on tape. And so that could very much happen to him, but the man is explosive. 4.5 get off for an interior. I almost gave him a full 5. Explosive as all get out. I think he's a 3 technique. They list him at 6'3". He might be shorter. 278. I mean, that's pretty, that's right in between. And the NFL, I mean, some people play multiple fronts, but for the most part, you'll be in nickel. I think with his relentlessness to the quarterback, with his explosion, and with his, I mean, pretty much he did pretty well on the edge. I think that as a 3 technique in those pass rush situations, he can have a lot of upside. Again, you just got to get to a team that's going to use him correctly. But I gave him 4.5 get off, 4 closing speed, and 4 hand technique, and a 5 motor. I mean, that's super high praise, but, it's a measurables type of league. Jordan Davis from Georgia, the big name. That, I mean, you know, simple and plain. This is a guy with elite size that you can't teach. But the biggest thing is he has such athleticism for someone his size. Like, I'm not saying he's a blazer, but to be that big, he can really move. And so his game is exactly what you think as far as power. People can't move him. He can take up space. He can move people. He's got elite level strength, all that good stuff. But with his athleticism, he is really good on stunts and blitzes and stuff. And so what's going to happen is you'll get a team that's more preoccupied with a quicker or better pass rusher. He can kill your quarterback, and he will, you know, run that little stunt. And if that gap open, he's getting to the quarterback. So that's the wrinkle I think that's got people excited, because I don't know what the value of this type of player is. You think about Derrick Brown from Auburn a few years ago. He went to the Panthers, I believe. And I haven't watched him closely, not saying he hasn't been good, but it's just like, for someone that high up, what has his impact been that you just hear? And again, he could be being great right now, but we know it's not like the top tier type impact. And I don't think that every player has to be for it to be a good pick, but it's just, again, the draft itself is about value. It's what do you prioritize over other things. And the question is not just Jordan Davis, but in general, what do these behemoth interior nose guys, what's the value of them these days? So, but I really like him, obviously, as a prospect. The Marvin Leal out of Texas A&M. Our first thing I wrote, he reminds me of Chris Jones. He needs better technique, and he needs to play with better leverage. I've seen him get down when he wants to, but he stands up a little too much. This is a guy that I think can be a 3 technique, but I also do think, again, like Chris Jones, he could be kind of that 3-4 DN. Again, a lot of that base front stuff don't matter as much, so you would see him on the interior of a 4-man front. But reminds me of Chris Jones, just the size movement combo. He's 290, but he has a giant, strong lower body, and he's really fluid as an athlete and can move around. So, and he's naturally strong. Again, that lower body power is hard to move him, but I just think his technique overall in the run game against double teams, pass rush, all of it is very just mediocre. So, not exactly a project, but definitely somebody that you're going to have to bring the best out of him. Then we got Devonta Wyatt out of Georgia. And, you know, I'm seeing a lot of hype, and I heard he's going to be crazy at the combine. Don't know, haven't seen it. But I'm not sure about him. Kind of a tweener, too. I mean, he's 315, but he's 6'3" if he measures out that tall. And he really made a living getting under blocks. With that leverage, you got linemen that are, you know, 6'6", 6'5". So he's under blocks. He's using his leverage. I like that. And he's flashed some good stuff, but overall, I just thought he was inconsistent. I think there was long stretches where he just sat there on the block, and there's times where he showed the ability to get rid of blocks pretty quickly and chase down a play or whatever, but I just think it was very inconsistent. So I really don't know where he falls for me in this draft. I'd be curious because there's some people saying first round, and I don't know exactly what they see because, look, if I see a guy I wouldn't say short, this way taller than me, but for the NFL, a guy this short, 6'3", maybe 6'2", 300-something pounds, you know, what is that person? Similar to Josh Paschal, what is that person? To me, that the only thing you could be is a 3 technique. And so when I think 3 technique, first round, combine, all that, Aaron Donald. This guy ain't Aaron Donald. He don't have that type of measurables. So I'm not sure what's exciting everybody, but for me watching him on film, I mean, I just thought there's some splash plays that made your eyes open, but a lot of times he was just sitting there. Fedarian Mathis out of Alabama. I just bumped my table. I love this dude. Love this dude. He's not one of the best to come out of Bama, but this is a very solid defensive player. Reminds me, I wouldn't say that, but I was going to say Ashawn Robinson, but not really. And he did come out of Bama. But no, I like Mathis, man. Big dude, 6'4", 317, great size. Again, somebody that you imagine as a 3-4 end classically. And very fluid for somebody that big. Not a, crazy athlete, but somebody that moves pretty well. I just like how he handles blocks. And again, it's Bama, so you expect it. But he attacks the block, he gets off the block. And he knows how and when to do that. Uses his hands, his long arms, his extension well. All of that. I think in the pass rush, he's definitely more of a bully ball type guy. But he gets after quarterbacks and he wants it. His motor's hot. And when they do stunts in games and stuff, similar to Jordan Davis, he gives you a plus because he's not super slow. So when you do a twist or everything, or blitz, this is somebody that could get home. So I really enjoyed his game. I think he's a solid second round pick. And again, it becomes that question of how much are these kind of run defenders worth, these space eaters. But I do think he has a little bit plus in the pass game. Then we're going to go down to Perian, I don't know how to say his name, Perian Winfrey. Oh yeah, he's from Chicago. But anyway, these last two, not huge fans. Winfrey, I mean, very stiff, extremely stiff. Not, again, that doesn't mean you can't be a good athlete. But stiff. He's explosive and he can run a bit. He's got a hot motor, but he's one-way explosive. I mean, super one-way. He ain't turning nothing. And so on the line, he just didn't show me anything. He just ran into blockers and then ran around and tried to chase stuff down. He didn't really show me anything. So at his size, 6'4", about 300 pounds, I mean, And honestly, with that explosion, he could be something that's pretty good, but, very limited athlete. So we'll see about him. And then Travis Jones didn't really have any tape, so didn't see a lot. What I did see, I mean, I didn't see anything that jumped off the screen. Hopefully going through the second round, I'll be able to see him more. So that is it for the interior linemen. This is, I think, a pretty solid group. Again, when you combine them with the edge rushers, it's a solid year for defensive line. I don't think anything crazy, although Jordan Davis is going to be nice. And I think Logan Hall he could be nice. And I think Leo from Texas A&M could be a game changer. But yeah, so solid group. Anyway, go to the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share it around. Get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for listening.